Let's begin. Go back with us to Mosiah chapter 25. And in here, to make sense and to get everybody up to speed and onto the same page, keep in mind, Mormon is, as the editor here, he's trying to pull everything together and make sense of what's happened with these different groups of people as we now prepare to move forward into the rest of the narrative. So, just to keep things straight, we brought Limhi's group back to Zarahemla, and following that, we brought Alma's group back to Zarahemla, and he describes in chapter 25, those first, 5, 6, all the way down to verse 13, the different groups of people. In Zarahemla, we have the Mulekites. These are descendants of Mulek, the people of Zarahemla. We have the Nephites, with King Mosiah as their leader. And it was from this group that these two different groups of people had left 80 years in the past and have now rejoined. So they're now combined here. And then Mormon gives us some demographic information that is kind of helpful as we move forward into this book to make sense of the lay of the land and the different populations. He says, look, the Mulekites are bigger in number than the Nephites. It's a smaller group. Even when you add Alma and Limhi's group in, the Nephites are still outnumbered by the Mulekites. But then he says you have the Lamanites that outnumber all of them combined by more than double. So the Lamanite population is much, much bigger than the combined population in Zarahemla, even after you add all these in. Here's the interesting point to all of this random number stuff. The smallest group of all, these Nephites, that they have the ruling power. They have the record keeping. They seem to be the literate portion of the population. It's almost as if he who rules the pen rules history and rules the governing of the people in a lot of ways. Look at so you're in chapter 25, look at verse 13. And now all the people of Zarahemla were numbered with the Nephites, and this because the kingdom had been conferred upon none but those who were descendants of Nephi. So Nephi's children and descendants are the kings. Can you see the interesting setup from a biblical perspective here? Because all of these people came out of the lands of the Bible in 600 BC, and the Mulekites probably around right before the conquest of Babylon, so 587, 586, when the siege is taking place, sometime Mulek, the son of Zedekiah, leaves. Here's the irony. You ready? Mulek is the son of Zedekiah, who was the king of Jerusalem. He's from the tribe of Judah. The tribe of Judah, they're the kings for the most part in this time period of ancient Israel. The Nephites, they come from the tribe of Manasseh. Manasseh is not a kingly tribe. They're not a priestly tribe. They're none of that. And now all of a sudden, all the priests, the prophets, the kings, the leadership, it's all coming from this lesser tribe, so to speak. Can you see how later on in the Book of Mormon, there could be some disputations and dissensions among the people of the Nephites because of a natural break that already exists before we even get underway? We don't know this for sure, so this is not doctrine, but there's at least a chance that the kingmen later on in the Book of Mormon are going to be saying, hey, we're of noble birth. What are you Nephites doing on the throne? Or as the chief judges, we want to be the king because we have the right to the kingship in the law of Moses. Under the House of Israel framework, we should be the ones in charge. What's going on? So you can, and we don't know if that's what's going on for sure, but at least that strong possibility is happening here. And Mormon is setting up this dynamic with all these different groups of people, saying, this is hard for these leaders to try to pull these people together and get them to become one and unified. And anybody who's worked with disparate groups and trying to work on unity can say amen to that.